Hey, you guys been playing, speaking of funny, stupid games, you guys been playing Stray? It's so funny how divisive of a game Stray is. Because it's just like all the cute, like, all the cute gamers are like, oh, this game's awesome, I love it. And then everyone who actually likes playing video games is like, this isn't a video game. This is like, what is this? This game sucks. I feel like I would not like Stray. Because I'm not into games as like a cinematic experience. If you're into games as like a cinematic experience, then I'm sure you would love Stray. Like if you just like looking at the graphics and just fucking... But for me, it's like, and I think a lot of you guys probably relate to this, is like, I like to be able to fuck around in a game and like express myself and have freedom and shit to just do what I want. And you don't seem to get a lot of that in that game. Too linear. But yeah, it's really divisive though, because if you're critical about it, then you'll get all the cute chatters like fucking raising their pitchforks like, but it's cute. It's a good game. What, you don't like cute games? What, you need a game to be more than this? I guess I have it fucked up for wanting a game to be more than that. I've never played a game that was like, Marathon, to your point, I've never played a game that was like designed to be cinematic that also had a lot of like freedom for player expression. I feel like those two things are just not synonymous in modern video games. Sadly, I wish they were. Because when a game is cinematic, I feel like by definition, it's going to be like a lot more on rails. I just don't like when games like just, you know, put you on rails. Like okay, you got to do this section and activate that section. It looks all cool. And fucking Nathan Drake is like exploding out of the fucking Congo jungle and shit. But I just don't, I don't care. I feel like for the technology that we have with video games nowadays, I feel like every game should be like an open world. Even if it's a quote-unquote linear game, it should still be like an open world type of thing where like you can choose to do the quest, you can choose to do whatever the main story is or not. But I feel like the concept of an open world game is still like kind of lagging really far behind in terms of its like full realization. I think we're still stuck in this era of like Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, you know, GTA clones where like, okay, we're making an open world, but it's like just empty, you know, and there's just like nothing, like it's not fully realized. I'm sure it takes so much time and like manpower to like fully realize an open world game and for a story to be like a cinematic experience, the campaign to feel like a well thought out cinematic experience all at the same time. I mean, that's just asking a lot at that point, I feel like. So I think even today, like developers they just choose one or the other, but you don't really ever get both. And it's not, I don't think a game has to be open world, by the way, for it to feel like you have freedom as a player. I just mean that's like one aspect of player freedom. But I mean, like even in any linear game, I think you should be able to like just go off the rails and like not like do what's intended, like. But anytime you try to do that in a game like fucking Last of Us or something, you just run into a bunch of invisible walls and that whole spiel. Like Stray, it's just like, I don't know. I haven't played Stray yet, but it just looks like so like on rails, the whole experience. And I just hate it when a game just puts you on rails. Like, you just can't like, there's no player expression. I think it's so important. If you're gonna have a video game, like, it has to be some degree of player expression. Like, why interact with a video game if you're not like intended to have a unique experience? It might as well be a movie at that point. You know, I'm obviously not the first person to say this shit, but you know, I'm just saying, like, here's what I am saying is that modern games are still lacking so far behind in terms of like the full actualization of narrative-based experiences that still enable player expression, like player freedom. Those two things are just, they don't exist together because they require a lot of time and effort and energy and like shit that just is not conducive to like a publisher's deadline. Why do you guys think people still play GTA 5, you know? GTA 5 was not only a great story experience when it came out, but it was also a pretty fully realized open world as well. Games like The Witcher are kind of like that as well. That's why these games like have sort of like stood for like a decade now as like quintessential like open world modern gaming experiences. Great story experience, that's debatable. You mean for GTA 5? Oh, ads, thank you. Thank you, Michi. By the way, great to see. Oh, it's actually still... dude, it's weird. It does like a double ad like at the start of my stream. But I'll try it again. It does like 2 ads back to back, like within 5 minutes of each other. I don't know why. And then it starts letting me do like the normal 8-minute like cooldown. So yeah, this time for realsies. Ass. I can provide you with ass, Michi. I can do that. Red Dead 2 is a good example. A lot of expression. You think so? Because I mean, from what I haven't played Red Dead 2, so I'm not gonna speak like as if I have played it. But just from what I've seen of it, it feels like the open world is still kind of like empty to a degree. Like a lot of the mechanics of like scavenging and like fucking making camps and stuff, like it feels like a lot of those like really intricate, detailed mechanics that like make a game like that like really a good experience to come back to. It feels like those sort of mechanics aren't fully realized. The money system in that game, like it's still a really good game. They have a ton of like random events and shit like that. And it's kind of the same thing with GTA 5 as well. Like GTA 5, like it has a lot of shit in its open world, but it's not like a fully realized, like there's no like systems that keep you coming back like to the open world aspect of it. Beyond just finding what there is to find, and that's it. Yeah, Rockstar games do kind of put you on rails. Even they're like, for having as good of games as they have, they still are, I think, guilty of like not fully realizing like the open world aspect of their games to allow for full like player expression. I don't even know how, you know, to a degree, I'm no dev. I don't even know how you'd fully do that. All I'm saying is that a lot of games, a lot of new games, especially linear ones, cinematic experiences like Stray, you know, it's like, they're hardly a game, you know? I think a lot of like reviewers sort of agree with that. They're like hardly a video game, you know? You play it, dude, this is the shit that blows my mind. It's a game that you play as a cat, but there's no jump button. Like, there's a meow button, but there's no jump button. That should tell you everything about, like, the focus of the game, you know? It's just it's a quick time event, or it's like a button, it's a prompt game. You go up to stuff and you get prompts to do things, and then it plays animations for you. Yeah, there's no jump button in Stray. Can you believe that? You can only jump in specific places. You can't just like freely play with the physics of the game. You have to like go where it wants you to. It's my point. It's a cat game. You should be able to go like anywhere you want in like any environment and break out of bounds and shit. That's why these old platformers from the 2000s, late 90s are so much better, you know, as a platforming like, you know, 3D whatever experience, is because like you have the systems and you can just use them to however your fullest, you know, abilities. There's no prompt to like, you know, if I want to like get up this fucking side of the mountain, like I could do it in a creative way like that. I just have to use the systems that are available to you. There's no prompt. There's no quick time bullshit. Like that totally stifles a game when it's like that. It looks pretty, but it doesn't like, it's just stifling there's no expression. There's no player expression in the movement. There's no sense of movement. You know, for a game where you play as a fucking cat. Like, is that not ridiculous? There's no sense of movement optimization, I should say. What's up, Elucidark? What's up, Debian? Yeah, I gotta wait for Stray 2 for the jump button to get added. Who wants to play as a stray cat? Dude, I mean, a stray cat is like a great idea for a game because, like, it's a success. That's why it's a successful game, is because you play as a cat. You guys realize that, right? That's another point that reviewers have made when I watch videos about it is, if you would have played as anything but a cat in this game, no one would have gave a shit. But because it's a cute cat, you know, everyone fucking loves it. Fucking stupid. Like, again, going back to like these old school platformers, like you don't have to play as a dragon per se to be able to enjoy these mechanics that I'm playing with right now. You don't have to play as Jack himself, you know, to enjoy like the movement of that game, or as Ratchet. Like it's nice to have like a cute character, a nice protagonist or whatever main character to play as, but you know, when the aesthetics are like the full focus of the game, it's just like fuck, it's just empty. If I want to just like look at something like technology wise, and this I do this, I'll just sit in front of my computer and look at the fucking my physical computer. I'll sit in front of it and watch the RGB fans like spin while it's on and be like, ah, this computer's so cool. I love it. I do that shit like every night. Like I'll sit in front of my computer. Every time I walk into my room, I see it like right there. And you know, at late 2 in the morning, I'll just sit in front of my computer on the cold tile floor, and I'll just look at the bright, no other lights on, nothing in my brain. Maybe I'm like half drunk, and I'm just sitting there. I'm just like looking at all these lights spinning and stuff. I'm like, damn, technology is cool. So I don't need to have that experience in a video game. I can have that experience in real life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the whole point of a video game is you're interacting with the world. There's some degree of expression. And just like so many games are just missing that nowadays. Even ones that claim to be like open world and shit. Or like lots of different options you can take. It's all just like a farce. Whereas, again, a simplistic game like this has like loads more player expression than any modern game that's come out in the last like decade.